Woo! It's the Wild Times, episode number 90-ish? I don't know. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Nobody cares what episode number is. I am your host, the broologist, Forrest Galante. Joining me today is the one and only producer, Mr. Patrick DeLuca. What's up, Papa P?
Hello. I'm just excited for this next intro.
Okay, good, because for the first time ever, we have Clark Kent on air with us, the professor of God knows what, with his dumbass-looking blue light glasses.
Dude.
I forgot. What are you wearing? What is on your face? What is wrong with your brain?
Cool blue
Tell
blockers, man.
Thanks, mate.
Blue blockers.
Forgot I had these on. When I'm not on camera, I like to wear these to protect my brain.
Identity?
Yeah, my identity. That worked for Clark Kent.
You're
Nobody
Clark
knew
Kent.
he was Superman.
Nobody can tell that you're Superman because you have transparent glasses on your face.
Professor Pig Trash. Pig Trash. Pig Trash.
Have they helped? I've seen this phase. I've got the Instagram ads for the blue light glasses. Do you spend too much time in front of a screen?
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference.
I do.
Tell the brosners.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they help. I mean, you cannot wear these on camera. You could see the glare is like awful. These are cheap ones.
We can literally all see Pornhub right now in the reflection of your glasses.
It's violently distracting.
They definitely work and have relieved some of the, because I obviously I carry the load on this show, so I'm constantly in front of the computer doing things and looking at things 12, sometimes 24 hours a day, and they definitely do something. Speaking of porn, really quick, I sent you guys a text. I don't know if you guys received it, but I had an idea for a new revenue stream for the Wild Times Media Company.
Tell us.
I love how you didn't read the text. We have the studio equipment now over here. Why don't we just start producing porn, throwing them up on Pornhub, wherever. No, Pat, Forrest.
Patrick, do you want to take this? There's
it
three
doesn't have to
guys
be.
on this
You won't
show.
be acting.
It's so stupid
straight.
that I can't.
You've got nothing? Okay.
Well, he's going to be a real treat today. Okay.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. Peter, let me explain something to you.
Sure.
Okay, when a man loves a woman, do you see any women in this equation of the three of us?
Yeah, but I'm not saying porn like you will be in the porn. I'm just saying we produce the porn. Porn's huge, guys. Don't you know? Do you guys watch porn?
Moving on.
Okay.
So there's a lot going on. We had a fun behind the scenes. What do you call our other one? The
Patreon podcast, the premium podcast.
What a great premium pod yesterday, where we dug into a few different things, and one of them was this EMOM, this every minute on the minute workout that I did. And the reason I bring this up, I'm trying to cheer Papa P up over there, is we talked about it on the pod, everybody made fun of me, and then immediately after the podcast, I got a little sheepish text going, "Hey bro, what was that workout you mentioned?" And it was Patrick. So I texted him the workout. I want to hear about it. How was it? What did you do?
It was funny because we finished recording and I had exactly 25 minutes until I needed to do something. I was like, oh shit, I should just do the thing Forrest said that made him puke at minute 12. So I did a modified version. We did, it's every minute on the minute for 20 minutes. As soon as the minute hits, you do 20, mountain climbers.
20 mountain climbers.
6 burpees.
Perfect.
And then 10 rope slams.
How was it?
Hard, but I will say it's funny because it was 6 minutes in to where I was like, okay, I'd have to do this 14 more times. This sucks. Mm-hmm. It's not that fun. But then I was like, okay, Forrest did it with 10 burpees today and completed it. So there was absolutely no way I could quit. But man, I'll say it was a good little motivating way to just get real sweaty in 20 minutes. Felt great.
Right?
And by the way, immediate mood booster too. As soon as that was over, I was pumped for the night. I was stoked for dinner. It just changes
what
the whole vibe.
happened between then and now? Jesus Christ.
By the way, Peter, you can't tell. when somebody's in a bad mood, the only thing that makes them in a worse mood is to point out that they're in a bad mood or be like, hey, why are you so
What do
100%.
I care? What do I care what kind of mood Pat's in? I'm constantly in a bad mood because I'm
That's
getting
true. You are.
I'm getting yelled at by fucking a prisoner over here. I can't believe what he's wearing today with that hat and that fucking jailbird outfit again. And by the way, the funniest part of that entire story
It's called like the SoCal like cool guy look. That's what it's called, man.
the best part of that
It's called fashion.
Yeah,
Peter.
yeah. The best part
learn
that's what
that.
we have fashion. We are the best part of that entire story you just told was the fact that as you were telling that story yesterday on the bonus pod, he's literally like grunting and going, ugh, yuck, ugh, ugh. And then he sends you a sheepish text. Hey man, can you remind me again what
That's part of the DeLuca charm, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You just gotta let it be.
Yeah, buddy.
That's funny.
Oh man. So, Forrest, I did see one thing that I wanted to get your eyes on because I thought this was fascinating. So, a study that was published this week in the Journal of Marine Mammal Science.
Hmm,
The GMMS, of course.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I read the article on National Geographic. Came out today, actually. I guess I didn't know this was news because maybe I sort of assumed that this already happened. But it describes 3 different instances that scientists witness where a pod of orcas killed and ate a blue whale, which apparently was not a known behavior prior to this. Think about that.
Yeah, that's wild.
Do think about that for a second because you're talking about the largest predator. You know, maybe not. That might not be. Yeah, there can't be a larger predator than an orca. So you're thinking about the largest predator in the world preying on the largest mammal in the world, and we didn't know about that until like a week ago.
No, today.
Which is, till today. Yeah, which is pretty fascinating. And by the way, I didn't know about that. I guess it's one of those things. I wouldn't even say it's assumed, right? It's like saying, does a pack of jackals prey on an elephant? I'd be like, no, that's silly, right? Like, they're too small, and it doesn't even matter if there's 1,000 of them. It's just like they wouldn't do that.
How much?
But,
what's the size comparison between the blue whale and the orca, just for my reference?
Oh, I've got some math for you, baby.
He's got past math. He's got past math. Do the jingle.
I got some math ready to go.
Okay, hold on. I know it's coming.
God is my witness. I will uncover the mystery that is Pat's math.
Okay, thank
Nice.
you. Yeah.
Okay, so basically what I've done here is I've taken the average weight of a blue whale and divided that by the average weight of an orca, right? So in one of these instances, it was 12 orcas that took down this blue whale. Let's say Peter weighs 200 pounds. Let's round down. Say he weighs 200 pounds.
It's true.
Substantially
I'm morbidly
down.
obese
Yeah.
according to the BMI scale.
So when you take 12 orcas and their size compared to this one blue whale, what would be the equivalent of 12 animals attacking Peter if he weighs 200 pounds? Give me an animal that might be the equivalent of that, you think?
Gotcha.
Oh, boy.
With Peter weighing 200 pounds, I'm going to say 12 house cats. 12 lemleys would have to attack.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 12 thylacine because, as we all know from the photos we've seen, they are the same size as a house cat.
No, you're going to have to go smaller than a house cat.
Wow.
shit.
Okay.
So imagine
I
12
already was
house.
like, that's too small.
I'm 100% sure that if 12 house cats attacked me, I could easily dismantle them and get them to run away.
Yes.
But something smaller than that would be the equivalent of 12 orcas killing a blue whale.
Okay. You've got an animal in mind, I presume?
I have a whole list of animals.
It's squirrels. It's 12 squirrels.
Let's go, Peter. Give me one more.
Okay, I'll go 12. 12. What are those tiny little dogs?
Peter, name a fucking animal. Chihuahuas. 12
No,
chihuahuas.
good God.
No, I'll go.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to give you, so basically it would be the equivalent of if 12 animals that weighed 4 pounds each.
Sorry, that's what it was. Yeah.
That weighed 4 pounds each attacked and killed a 200-pound man.
It's a Yorkie. That's what I was going to say.
So do you think that maybe something like a ruffed lemur, 12 of those could take you down, Forrest?
I do not. I absolutely do not believe that 12 rough lemurs could take me down.
What about like 12 quokka?
No. First of all, they smile me to death. Every man in the world has had the fantasy of them taking on an army of small children and seeing if they could survive it. I'm sorry. I know this might not be politically correct, whatever. There is not one like 18-year-old male that hasn't been like, I could take on 210-year-olds, no problem. I got that. Tell me I'm wrong. And so my point being that when you say that, could I take on 12 quokka? Duh. Of course I could. No problems. I'm an athlete, sir.
How about 12 yellow-bellied marmots?
No, absolutely not.
No
They'd rip me
way.
to shreds. Anything in the mustelid, dude, anything in the mustelid family.
Yeah.
Anything in that weasel family is terrifying. I wouldn't take on 3. And that's the difference,
So there
right?
you go.
That's the difference. Adorable marsupial, no problem. Mean-ass weasel, no chance. I think that's the difference.
So you have just heard it here. Forrest Galante has just said that orcas are the mustelids of the sea. You just said that.
I have the weasels of the ocean. That is my exact quote.
It makes it even funnier that in the Big Lebowski, they have a marmot that is like their attack marmot, and they throw it in the tub with them because they clearly, if there's a wildlife biologist saying this, they honestly did research to pick the animal that they were going to use to be their attack marmot.
Yeah, it's
I
smart.
don't think marmots are marmots mustelids, or are they in the rabbit family? I don't know the answer to that. But regardless, so I've got a marmot story. You want to hear a marmot story?
Oh, yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Circa 2004 or 2005, young Forrest Galante has recently moved to the United States, just getting settled here in California, and as we've talked about on the pod so many times, I'm a troubled youth, if you will, causing all kinds of ruckus. And my mom can clearly see that I'm being, a little shithead. So she's like, all right, we're going to go on a camping trip, okay? And so it's me, my sister, my mom, and our family friend and their kids. And we decide to do Mount Whitney, which, if you guys don't know, it's like the tallest peak in California. It's like 4 days of hiking, and it's not anybody can do it, by the way. Anybody, it's like, oh, I did Mount Whitney. It's like, great, you walked a trail for a couple days, congrats. And it's you take this trail, you go up the pass, and go into Mount Whitney. And on day 2, we're up there. Like, everybody is tired because you're doing like 8-10 miles a day, and it's a lot of vertical elevation. We get into this high Sierra area where there's marmots everywhere. They're like all over the rocks, right? I mean, and they're so cool. They're such weird little animals. They look a bit like rock dassies. And this is Forrest fresh out of Africa as a young teenager. And I go to my mom, if I catch a marmot, can I keep it? And my mom goes, of course, knowing that there's zero chance in hell that anybody can catch a marmot using their hands and no tools. And she was wrong. So that afternoon, I'm watching the marmots, and I watch one scurry under a rock. And much like lobster diving, I realized when it scurried under this rock that, it could go further back in the rock, but there's no way that it has any other exit point if I basically jam myself in the little crack that it went into. And so as soon as I see this marmot run into this granite outcropping, I bolt over there and basically wedge myself shoulder deep into this crevice looking. And so I wedge myself in, and there's little bits of light coming in from the sides, but that are far too small for this chubby marmot or chubby Forrest to get in or out of. And I realize very quickly that I am face to face, about me to this computer screen, away from like a subadult marmot. And so I wriggle my arms forward, and I get to this point where I'm like sitting in like pounce position. And this is probably illegal, by the way, so please don't arrest me, state of California. And I reach out and I literally grab this marmot. And this marmot goes a little bit berserk, but it was a young one and like too young to be totally ferocious. And I managed to get it by like the scruff of its neck. And this kid who was with me, Daniel was his name, who was the family friend's son, I was like, Daniel, pull my legs, because I couldn't let go of the marmot. So he grabs my legs and pulls me out. My shirt goes riding like way up, and I get all this like road rash, like because I'm lying on a granite rock, like scraping my nipples up and everything. And I come out triumphant, as though I have just conquered the world, because I've got in my hands a marmot. And so Daniel and I march back to camp, which is like 2 minutes away, with me holding this poor, terrified marmot. But I'm 14, and this is what you do at age 14.
Yeah,
and I walk
you're a
up to my
menace.
mom, and it's a sub-adult, so I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great pet. This is going to be so awesome. And I walk up to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, you said I could keep this marmot. And she was like, the camp was so shocked. There were other campers around because it's not like nobody goes up here. Everybody's looking at this blood. All the blood is soaking through my shirt, by the way. I forgot to mention this.
Nice.
All the blood is soaking through my t-shirt. I'm holding this like marmot that's like in my hands, and I present it to my mom and our family friend Bob, and I'm like, I'm keeping this marmot. And my mom is like, I said you could, but I lied. Put the fucking marmot down.
Yeah, of course.
And I had to let it go. And I resented her for the rest of the hiking trip because she wouldn't let me keep the marmot.
Yeah, I'm guessing your
Still
attitude was
resent her to
terrific
this
on the
day.
descent.
Of course, yeah, because I was like, I'm fucking mom. She
Bloody
wouldn't let me
nips.
She said I could keep it. Blah, blah, blah.
Just covered in sweat and blood and dirt.
Oh, yeah. But that was
So-
pretty funny.
So
Yeah.
marmots,
funny.
by the way, are not mustelids. They are a rodent. Part of the same family that squirrels are part of, actually.
Yep, that makes sense.
okay.
Closer related to rabbits, probably, in that group of...
Peter, what's the
Motorcycles
highest
getting outside
hike
my
you've
house.
ever done?
Oh God, the highest hike? Shit, I did the top of Yosemite there, the Upper Falls, which was
Okay.
That's the highest. It is very
Gotcha.
high. I don't know how.
I don't know
high.
how high that is. But Mount Whitney's like 14,500 to the peak.
Jeez.
A hike that I like to do that's close to LA is Mount Baldy. You ever done that one?
Oh, yeah.
That's
I've
only
never
like
done it.
10.5.
I'm familiar with it, though. That's how high?
It's like 10.5, and the last 1,000, like, man, I think I'm sensitive to elevation because I feel it that last 1,000. Like, cruising up,
Yeah.
nice casual hike, and the last 1,000 feet, like, it's just like right at 9,000, the elevation just hits me, and I'm like, ooh, I got to slow down. Mm-hmm. I've never been as high as 14,000.
That's crazy.
From my limited experience doing those high hikes, so we all live at sea level, right? And so
Yeah.
when you're not used to it, like you hit 8, I would even say 6. I would say when I hit about 6,000 feet and up, I'm sucking air. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can do it, I can push through it, but every step I'm like, and I just feel like I cannot get enough oxygen in my blood. And like you do it, and it's no problem, but it just sucks. Like every single breath just feels like you're gasping.
I just looked up the Yosemite Falls, and it's only 2,425 feet. Like that was fucking brutal. That was a brutal hike. It took all day, man. It was tough.
No, it's
That's a
5,400.
paved trail, sir. That is a paved trail.
It is.
It
not,
goes up to
dude. It's dirt.
54.
It's not. I know.
Okay,
It's not.
Peter.
but it does say
It
that
starts
it leads.
at
Yeah,
It starts
sorry, go
at
ahead.
2425 and then goes up to 5400.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yosemite
reading
Falls.
it wrong.
Yeah.
It says that it's got North America's tallest waterfall at 2425, which I didn't know. That's interesting.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that
Yeah,
either.
fuck.
Have you done Kilimanjaro, Forrest?
You weren't going to ask Peter that question?
Yeah, I've done it 3 times.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it is.
never.
Is that a-
I've seen it. I've seen it in the distance. You even see it when you fly into Nairobi International. You can see Kilimanjaro out the window.
We flew into, I don't remember the airport code, but Kilimanjaro Airport when we connected to Zimbabwe or Zanzibar.
Oh wait, no, that's not. Is that Nairobi? No, that's in
It's in
Tanzania,
Tanzania.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the airport where you see it. Yeah, no, seen it. It's a beautiful mountain. Never done it. That's another one that like, to me, that's one.
Yeah, I know it's a
to
tourist
me, that's one where
thing.
like every hot girl on Instagram is like, I did Kilimanjaro, and you're like, sick. You like walked up a very well manicured trail for a day and a half. Like, what do you want?
I feel like
for
I'm
saying
being
that?
personally attacked right now, okay?
Well, you are a hot girl on Instagram,
Listen.
Peter. So yes, you should feel personally insulted.
I would want accolades for climbing to the top of Kilimanjaro, especially from you
come
two.
on. Oh, come
Well,
on.
so
Come
Kilimanjaro
on.
gets up
Get off
to.
your low horse.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, everyone kind of does it. Like, I feel like a lot of people, I know a bunch of people that have done it, and it's like a touristy thing to do, whatever. But when I was researching my own sensitivity to elevation, I came across a list of professional athletes who were not able to finish. So I think it's like a third of, when the group goes up, it's like a third of the group doesn't finish, like on most Kilimanjaro
Oh,
treks,
that's
just because they're
interesting.
so sensitive
Maybe I
to the
should
elevation.
backpedal. Maybe I should backpedal on my insulting comments because I don't know. I've never done it. How high does it get? What's the elevation?
19.4. It's up there, man.
That's high. That is really, really high up there. Yeah. But I also know it is a very leisurely hike. It's not. No,
right.
I will never admit that I'm wrong. No, but it is high. But I also know that it's not like, I don't know. I think when people hear the words Kilimanjaro, they think like Everest, and they think there's like ropes and climbing and all this stuff. Kilimanjaro is not that. It's like a very manicured trail that you hike up, and it takes a few days. And I'm not saying it's not difficult, especially considering the elevation, but it's just like going on a trail that everybody else goes on. It's like you and me, Patrick, hitting Runyon Canyon or whatever that canyon that we go and jog on is.
Yeah,
right.
You guys got lost and thought that there was a paranormal event just going around the block at his house one time.
It's not that we thought there was a paranormal event.
Happened.
There was a... Peter.
Yeah, you don't understand, Peter.
We
One day
made
we will
4
make
lefts. We made 4 rights, and instead of making a square, so, going this way, right, 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 right. Instead of making a square, we had literally teleported 10 miles in the original direction that we were heading.
It makes... Peter, you can laugh.
I swear to God, dude.
One day there is going to be a movie about this. There's going to be a book written.
No.
You're going to hear about the lost runners of West Hollywood. This is going to be a thing, man.
I want the Brosners to weigh in with their possible theory of what Pat just explained, how scientifically these two have got it wrong. Just weigh in the comments.
I'll tell you what, Forrest, next time you're in LA, let's go. We'll just film it on our cell phones, and let's try to recreate and find that warp zone or that portal, whatever we found.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that portal to the other world is still there or if it's closed down. Or Peter, you can laugh all you like. This happened, okay? This was a real. We teleported. It made no sense. It was one of the longest runs I've ever done.
Here's what happened. Here's my theory. You two were so enamored with one another and the conversation you were having with each other that you because I've seen it happen on the podcast. I'm just over here like, hello, hey, we're doing a podcast. You ended up 10 miles down the fucking street.
No, but here's the part, Peter, where that goes out the window. Is, we were excited because we were going to go back and drink, and we were all giddy about it. But I will say it was also my usual run. It's the run that I was doing 3-4 times a week at that point.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Well, weigh in, Brosners. I'd love to hear your theories on why they are.
Let us know if you want us to take a deeper dive on this also. We could try to recreate it.
This is important.
Forrest, do you think you'll, in your lifetime, do Everest? Is that something that you're interested in doing?
No, so I've been asked that on a couple different interviews, and I always give the same answer. If somebody came to me and said, do you want to do Everest? Absolutely not. By the way, I hate hiking. So, Brosners, put your little earmuffs on because it's going to hurt some people. I fucking hate hiking. It's awful. But if you go for a hike with a purpose, find a snake, get to a lake to fish, go to the top of something for this incredible vista, whatever it is, I'm in all day. But those people that are like, let's hike to hike? No, like that's so stupid. I hate it. I don't want to do that.
Bad for the knees too. Bad for the back.
No, I just don't like it. And so anyway, the answer to your question, will I ever do Everest? Absolutely not. I have no interest. But if somebody said, hey, Forrest, there's an extinct Himalayan quail on the tippy top of Mount Everest, I'd be there tomorrow. No questions asked. No problem. I'll do the hike. But if you just to do it to like thump my chest and be like, I conquered Everest, no thanks. Not interested. Zero interest.
That's interesting.
Peter, would you pull up something, just a couple photos, just in Google Images? Just type in Mount Everest ladders. So whenever I see a depiction or a documentary of people doing Everest, it all seems bad, right? The elevation and dying, and that's all seems bad. Mm-hmm. But the ladders, I'm like, nah, I have nope. I just don't care. I could not. Those are so fucking scary, man. Just these ladders that go across the crevasses. It's terrifying.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen that. That's pretty... I mean, I agree it's terrifying in, like, a very cool way.
Click on that third one. That third one on the top, right, Peter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look
this one?
At that.
That's yucky. That is yucky.
Dude, it's terrifying. I mean, at least you're harnessed in, so it's not, like... It's not... if you fell, you wouldn't die, right?
Yeah,
right?
but your brain doesn't know that. I mean, like, ugh.
You got a helmet on. Forrest wouldn't, but this guy has a helmet on.
Correct.
No,
I've got no interest. Peter, would you do it?
No,
Like,
of course
say-
not, because I would never have the.
Can I?
Yeah, sorry,
Hey,
go ahead.
Hey.
You
calm
asked me a
down.
question and I
Calm
answered
down.
it. All right,
I
go
know.
on.
No,
Go
you
on.
did. You did. But I want to paint a hypothetical for you.
Okay,
All right,
paint
so
it.
I think we know Patrick's answer based on the ladders. Peter Fitzer, you,
Yeah.
sir, have won an all expenses paid trip to Mount Everest. You're going to
Okay.
climb it. You've got a tour guide. You've got Sherpas. This is all expenses paid. Not only that,
Yeah.
but Patrick and I are going to indeed pay for you for 6 months to have a trainer and go to a rock wall and climb. You get all the gear that you could ever want.
Yeah.
And you, sir, get to say that you climbed Mount Everest. Are you in or are you out?
I'm out, and let me tell you why. Number one, there is zero. I sit in an office like I am not an adventure seeker. My back hurts right now for no reason. I don't know why. And the other thing is this: the only way that I would do this is if it was like for the Brosners, like for the podcast.
Brosners.
There's no way I would ever consider this like for myself. To do this, my knees are bad. I got a bad back.
How old
Joints
are
bad.
you? Are you 90?
I mean,
Are you
seemingly 90
years old?
but I'm 38 rough years old, man. I'm a big man. I'm a big person. I know that you guys are small and meager, so you won't understand this. Us big people, we die earlier because our bodies have a hard time keeping up all this weight. And I'm not that fat. I have large muscles and large bones, and I can't get rid of it.
I love this conversation.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to die early. I'm 38 years old, and you don't understand. I'm a big person. I'm going to die soon.
Look at
38
fucking Andre
rough
the
years.
Giant. They have been rough years with all the alcohol, the drugs, the whores,
So
and the
if I had
prostitutes.
been offered... Oh, Peter, stop. If
Sorry.
I had been offered
Just
the
kidding.
same
I've
thing
never
you
had
just
one.
said, I would do Everest. If it was all expenses paid, you get to be trained for it, you get all the gear, then I'd do it. But just to set it as a life goal, no thanks.
I mean, not to mention 309 people have died. I mean, 4 people
God.
died on Everest last year. 2 of them from exhaustion. It's like you're putting yourself in a situation where no one can rescue you.
It's
Which
it's
we
an-
do often in wildlife filming, but not this.
Right. Very true.
It's an
Very
interesting scenario because I could see Forrest. He has that thing where he would definitely overexert himself and try and go too hard. But at the same time, he's a survivalist, so he knows in his rational brain not to do that. So I wonder how it would turn out. He might die. He'd probably make it, but he'd probably go outside of the area where he could be rescued like a
100%.
dumbass.
Yep,
And
100%.
and not be able to be rescued. So
And I don't want to make this about me and my personal stuff. I 100% fall more into the idiot pushes himself too hard realm than the self-preservation survival side of it when it comes to that kind of thing. When my brain weighs in on those two decisions, survivalists are cautious, nervous people, right? By trade, and this is going to upset some people, but by trade, the people that study the art of survival, it's the people that are preppers, right? It's they're always worrying about the worst case scenario. So they're learning all these things and they're stockpiling food and water and all these things because they're concerned about the worst case scenario. I'm the opposite of that. I have nothing saved up or prepared, or I am not at all concerned about anything collapsing tomorrow. I will cross that ladder bridge when we get to it.
That's why 100% of your investments are cryptocurrency, and you might be buying an airplane that you don't know how to fly yet.
I'm doubling
you're not
down
prepared.
on my Bitcoin tomorrow. No problems. No
Yeah,
questions
guys.
asked.
risk
Yeah.
taker
Dude,
extraordinaire.
so speaking of the doomsday prepper thing, man, I think you guys
Yeah.
might find this fascinating. So just with doing TV and constantly developing shit, you talk to all sorts of people. And so I was talking to these guys, they're contractors that have built some of the big bunkers and designed some of the big bunkers that the government has. Like Cheyenne Mountain Complex, things like that, right? They're giant bunkers into the sides of mountains that are meant to preserve government.
I'm saying, but I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah, you should look up
so you know.
Cheyenne Mountain Complex. It's pretty amazing.
Okay. Okay.
There's some pictures and stuff and some video of like the doors that get into this compound. It's fucking crazy, man. But the government builds these big bunkers, and they're meant for certain people to survive should there be nuclear war or whatever, right? They can basically take the whole government and operate from there. And one of the things they were talking about was like part of what they do is they basically do like personality profiling that basically helps them arrange like who can be together in a doomsday bunker without it turning into complete chaos, because the thought is that psychologically we will revert back to, in a lot of ways, like our animal selves. And so they're like, you have to know who are the alpha males, how are they going to compete, 6 months in, who's going to just start like raping women, because people will go fucking crazy when they're in this bunker and they can't leave for 2 years.
No question. No question.
I was like, holy shit, there's a whole profiling part of it too.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? And it's funny, Patrick, being on the flip side of that, right? And I don't know if you've ever experienced this. You've obviously produced a lot more TV than I have. But when I did Naked and Afraid, one of the only things they made you do was like a psychological assessment. And it was a massive document with it must have been 400 multiple choice questions. And they were all like, if you and a friend broke down in a car and one of you had to change the tire in the snow, would you A, volunteer to change the tire, B, ask him to change the tire, C, cut his head off and piss down his throat? And you're like, I think I know the answer to this one. And they were, and I think the reason I bring all this up, and I don't mean to pirate your topic, but I think that they intentionally on that show, on Naked and Afraid, look for the two people that the psychologists go, oh yeah, they're gonna clash. Like these two do not like each. They're not. These are both alphas, or this person and this person are like polar opposites, or whatever it is, and try and shove them together to make it more dramatic.
Sure,
it's super
casting
smart.
is such a huge part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole beauty behind the Bachelor series and the Bachelorette is like, it's the casting, man. They find these people, man, and they get them together in a house in a situation where they believe that they're in this life and death competition from day one. Right. It's the psychological profiling.
Take their phones
is brilliant.
away.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about that, and I haven't watched that much Bachelor, Bachelorette, but there's always, this is why I always yell at my wife and say that it's fake and to stop watching it, because there's always one nightmare contestant, right? Whether it's a guy or a girl that everybody in the house hates, and they all don't get why that person's there. And they're like, oh, Sarah is such a bitch. Sarah is the worst. I can't stand Sarah. And she's like creating tons of drama and tons of friction. The Bachelor clearly hates her. Like his body language is like, ugh, the whole time. And then it's like gets to the rose ceremony, and the first rose, it's like, Sarah. And it's like, why? Why are you keeping her here? It's like, obviously the producers have told you like she cannot go home, because it's good TV. And it's just like, I get so mad every time, and like, I sit through half an episode of The Bachelor. I watch Sarah piss off every single person, say all the wrong things to The Bachelor, and then she's the first one who gets a rose. And I'm like, Jessica, stop watching this. This is so fake. And I get
Jessica's
so angry.
like, fuck off. This is fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. And Jessica's sitting there going, God, I wish I was on The Bachelor instead of sitting here with this asshole.
Listening to him
jungle
rant.
potato eating. Yeah, what's up with the ranting? That's my thing, Forrest. But you are...
Well, it's just... Because you want to know why? Because Mark Burnett, or whoever created The Bachelor, is making $1 billion with this silly nonsense and has tricked all of America into thinking it's real, and it just annoys me. It's like we go out there and discover extinct animals and Animal Planet's like, nah, sorry, not important enough. Let's go to The Bachelor.
I wanna... Mike Fleiss, the guy who created that, is worth $200 million. Good for
That'll do
him.
It.
Good for him.
Yeah. Good for him.
Guys, I want to bring it back to wildlife, and this is way out of my character, but I've got a story that I'd like to talk about today that I thought was very interesting. Forrest, I texted it to you. It was the tragic love triangle that is sad for a rare snail. I know...
So I saw the headline and didn't open it because I assumed it was a nonsense Reddit thing like you often send me. Is it a real thing?
It's a real thing. So there was this...
Tell me more.
There was a garden snail with a rare genetic condition where he can't mate with normal snails. So these scientists launched an international search to find Jeremy, that's the snail's name, a mate.
Great.
Right?
Great.
And apparently it became this big viral thing. And they found not one, but 2 potential mates. And
No
they're
way.
thrilled. They're thrilled because what...
So is it a rare snail species?
Yeah, so it's not the species. It's the fact that... And it's... The way that its shell is, it's on like counterclockwise or clockwise. I can't remember. It's on the opposite of every other snail. So like they say 1 in 100,000 or even more have this deformity and they can't mate with regular snails because their genitalia don't line up. So they went on this search. They found 2 suitors for Jeremy. Wouldn't you know it? The 2 suitors fucked each other and left Jeremy out in the fucking high and dry. Would not.
It's the snail bachelor. It's the snail bachelor.
Would not mate with Jeremy, but went out and had a grand time with each other, had babies, mated, and now it's just a sad Jeremy who is fucking.
Also, Jeremy.
Can I just point out? Do you remember when we talked about the mutant that the Russians made, which was the paddlefish sturgeon hybrid?
Yes.
And I was like, this is wrong. Like, we shouldn't be doing this. This is basically the same thing, right? It's like, here's the snail that's been born with a genetic deformity, which means via natural selection, it should die. It shouldn't stick around. And a bunch of scientists are like, oh, let's make sure that Jeremy can get his dick wet. And goes out and finds some more deformed snails. Like, why are we doing this? There's obviously a problem or a reason. Like, we are playing God here where we should not be, in my opinion.
You want to know what adds insult to injury to this story, too? What? This is an actual picture of Jeremy with the offspring of the 2 former suitors right
no
here.
No way.
That's what it says
hilarious.
Did Jeremy officially adopt their snail babies?
It looks like it. I mean, I think so. In the end, maybe it's not that sad of a story. Jeremy got some adopted snails.
I mean,
That's
look,
hilarious.
I'm sure Jeremy's happy to have this new responsibility of parenting, but at the same time, like, he cries himself to sleep at night because they're not his kids. You know what I mean? It's too fresh.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's too fresh.
By the way, this is breaking. I did not see this. This was just a link below the article.
Breaking. October 17th, 2017.
Breaking for everybody in the world because nobody's ever read this before. But look at this. He died, but knew love before the end. They found a suitor, apparently. That's amazing.
My favorite part of this story is how emotionally invested you are.
I know.
Case.
He really is.
And I'll tell you why I think it is. And Patrick, I want to hear your take on this. I think that Peter has balls above his penis. And so he can't mate normally. And he feels like a connection with the left twisting Jeremy. And he's like, man, I feel for Jeremy. Like, my nuts are above my penis. And I just can't mate with a normal woman.
But how would that prevent me from mating, Forrest? You did not flesh out this insult.
I did, because how would a left twirling snail prevent it from mating with a right twirling snail?
It does,
these are
scientifically. It does. There is no question. This is reality, my friend. Testicles above your penis does not in any way.
The gravity of your sperm will not. I don't know. I'm making this is a hypothesis, and I'm just trying to make fun of you.
Well,
this is getting very crude.
I know for a fact that your balls are in your own
guys.
Nope.
Too much pee-pee talk. Let's not do it.
All right.
Let's get back onto snails and the likes, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Peter.
Yes, sir.
Patrick and I were in the throes of, I think it was season 1, Extinct or Alive, and I remember I called Patrick up and I go, Patrick, you're gonna love this Extinct or Alive. We have to figure out how to pitch this. And he's like, all right, yeah, I'm listening. I go, beer slug. What? The German beer slug, this is a real thing, was a slug that went extinct around 80 years ago. It used to live alongside the hops or barley, I don't remember which one, of the beer that was grown in Germany, and it disappeared. And I was like, listen, this isn't a joke. The only way to find the German beer slug is to go to a bunch of breweries in Germany and go down below into their beer cellars and look in these dark, damp habitats in their basements and storerooms where they store their beer and look for the beer slug. And Patrick, you remember this conversation, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, dude, this would be the greatest thing ever. And you can figure what the network said about it. But, dude.
It doesn't really fit with, like the whole outdoors adventure-y thing that we like to do on this station.
Erroneous.
On this network.
Erroneous. That is not the point. The point is our game was to look for an extinct animal. We had a perfect situation in which we could go and find one. And sure enough, if I'm not mistaken, I might have the timeline all skewed, like 3 or 4 or 6 months later, an article was published about some guy finding a German beer slug on the side of a keg during Oktoberfest or whatever it was.
shit.
And I'm like, come on, like this guy's published, this is like breaking science, and you know this drunk moron was just there drinking beer at Oktoberfest, and that could have been us as drunk morons. And I was so disappointed, and I thought it would have been such a fun, different Extinct or Alive to go to Germany. I mean, was it exciting? No. Was it fun? Unbelievably so. But yeah, German beer slug, real animal.
Pat, let me ask you a question. As a producer, how do you create a story from this? Like, it's not going to be your typical. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. You just go, look, it's going to be a different vibe to it. Let's test it. Maybe fans will love it and it'll be the highest rated one. Like, it's worth trying something a little different, right? Really, all we're trying to do is just convince them to pay for us to go to Germany and do a brewery tour.
Correct.
But, you just try and sell it like that. And then, you actually really would be looking for it. And then Forrest would have to come up with like 3 or 4 fun tactics so it's not just shining flashlights around in the tap lines of St. Pauli Girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
okay.
we would do, by the way. I would do a salt trap to see if I could kill one, I guess, because I don't know what else you do with slugs. I'd put a bunch of lettuce out. I mean, we'd come up with some fun stuff. But
The way I envision
Build a lettuce tree.
the lettuce tree. Yeah, we'd make a lettuce tree in a basement. I mean, that's a fun piece of TV.
What I'm picturing is definitely Forrest going dirty jobs here, like being underground, dirty with a headlamp on, and I think that could work. I really do. Dirty Jobs is coming back, by the way. Mike Rowe is like 65, looking great, but I was like, dude, how are you gonna like do all this crazy shit, digging around in this stuff with this headlamp, and you're like 60? I mean,
he's a cool guy. I like Mike Rowe. So, Peter, you should do the jingle, because we've now done 2 news stories, and there's at least one more that I want to talk about. Can you do the jingle, even though it's late, please?
Okay. That's a plug to the guy.
This is why people like us, because we don't. What's in the news?
Yeah, it's fresh off the top, off the cuff.
News from the underground.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for the drops.
I just love our jingles. I really do. Okay.
Yeah.
So, check this out. Woolly mammoths.
Mammoths. Love them. Why not?
They're trying to bring them back.
Huge
we've
fan.
talked about that on the
please
show.
bring 'em back.
They're trying to bring them back. I'm for it. I appreciate it.
No, you're Forrest.
A new DNA study shows that woolly mammoths lived in North America until just 5,000 years ago.
What?
That's cool.
That's
That's
crazy.
cool, man. Like, think about
5,000?
that. 5,000 years ago is not that long ago.
No.
And like, we used to think that it was like, I believe 14,000 years ago was typically what people thought, especially where I live with the California Channel Islands. They're like, oh, they were here till 14,000 years ago. Well, this new study is showing that they were around until about 5,000 years ago, which is like, I mean, okay, 5,000 years sounds a lot to us because, we're as a species, we're not very old, and like we only live 100 years. But on the grand scale of time and extinction, that is a blip, man. That is a millisecond of time. Like that is just like a stone's throw away. And I don't know, that's so freaking cool, especially living in California where we all live in North America and knowing that mammoths were literally right where we are 5,000 years ago. I don't know. I just thought it was so cool.
Makes me feel
What did
warm.
they find that made them revise the estimate? Was it just like they carbon dated some tusks or something?
Well, what they said is it suggested that some mammoths survived on isolated islands away from human contact until, and they said 4,000 years ago. But humans on the mainland of North America, in remote areas, they lived well into the Holocene as recently as 5,000 years ago. So it was basically, this study was just looking at fossil remains, knowing that there was taking these soil samples and carbon dating and just, through DNA, they figured out that like on these islands, and I don't think they state which ones. I'd have to read it again, but I think California Channel Islands would obviously be one of them, and a few other remote islands, as well as remote areas where people hadn't inhabited. They were around until much more recently than we thought.
Dude,
Super
that's
cool.
So they're 2/3 closer to us in the lineage. So they thought they were 15,000, 14,000 years ago. Now they're 4,000 or 5,000 years ago.
Correct. Yep. I
Wow.
think that's basically it. And by the way, like dating back much longer, right? But
Yeah.
the belief was that they disappeared 14-ish thousand years ago, and now this new study is suggesting there was only 5,000 years ago. I don't know. I think it's really rad.
Dude, there was an article pretty recently, that came out that that humans they discovered were modern humans were discovered much earlier than they thought, like 250,000 years ago. When before it was like way less than that. I forget what the number is.
Wait, sorry. What was 250,000 years
Modern
ago?
human. They discovered like a modern human civilization. So like, you know, and I was just like, now that is fucking crazy to think about, because what was going on 250,000 years ago? I mean, like, you're
Yeah,
just,
that's not true, though.
what do you mean?
It's not true.
I'm looking
They
at it right
didn't
now.
find a civilization 250,000 years ago. They might have found people, but there's still no proof of a civilization pre-Mesopotamia.
Fire-baked
I mean, some people
tools, ancient people. Okay, all right, fine.
Yeah, I mean, people were doing shit.
NationalGeographic.com. Okay.
But do they say civilization?
Morocco.
Do they say civilization?
Do I call you out for every grammatical
No,
thing
that's
that you semantical
Sorry,
thing
and
you
I'm
say?
not trying to call you out. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
you're not? Okay.
To say a civilization is very different than saying there were modern humans that were living primitive hunter-gatherers.
I think Peter just misspoke. But what he's saying is that there were modern people 250,000 years ago, which until recently we thought was much, much later. Correct, Peter?
I'm sorry, I'm not listening anymore.
He's probably typing an angry message in the chat because he got called out.
No, I got a news story I
Okay.
want to brought up to me in the
Okay.
Discord today.
Do it. Yeah, do it. I got one more interesting one too, and we're getting news heavy on this episode, but I'm okay with it. There's another really funny one.
One of our favorites, J Abs, sent a article. It's in Yahoo. Scientific paper claims octopus are actually from outer space. This is breaking
We've
news
talked about
today.
this. We've talked about
No,
this
but
repeatedly.
this is from today, January 26,
Okay.
2022, 8:11
What
a.m.
are they saying? What is this
Okay.
new science?
So
Where
they're
was it
saying
published? I'm
the
excited.
very first sentence, octopuses are from space. Sounds like an opening line of a cheesy movie. But
Go on.
There was a paper published in the journal Progress in Biophysics and Molecular Biology. Oh, come on, out of space. Out of space. He dropped it 4 or 5 times last time in the bonus pod.
Regardless, you can't say the word molecular, but please continue.
Molecular. I'm getting
Molecular.
old, man. I'm getting...
It's been 38 rough years. Give him a break.
Yeah, 30.
The paper digs
rough.
deep into the origin of life on Earth, and as a result, it posits that life began thanks to a rain of retroviruses, which literally fell from space. Those retroviruses then added new DNA sequences to terrestrial genomes, which the paper says further drove mutagenic change, spurring creatures like the octopus. There's more. It goes deep into the arrival of cephalopods, and it claims that they arrived on the planet by falling from space frozen in a kind of stasis. Okay?
Yeah,
Where was
I
this
mean, that's
published?
This is in the
Journal of Molecular.
I know. I just wanted to hear him say it again. I was
the
trying to
Journal of Molecular
sneaky.
Science. Molecular. I could say it. I'm
So
a professor.
just real quick before we weigh in on this, I just received this text from our mutual friend Neil.
Yep.
Oh shit! What is that? Don't. Why are you doing that?
It's why are you doing
what?
What's going
used to
on
be
here?
real
Looks like
good.
you got the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, I mean, I got a swollen face. I'm probably drunk. I have a dark tooth. I probably got kicked in the stomach. I mean, what do you want me to say? That's me. I got no regrets, mate. Look at me now.
No, not even a single letter. That is, I love that photo,
Molecular.
first of all.
Yeah.
And in the Journal of Science, I look. I mean, we've talked about this. Rogan's talked about this everybody's obsessed with octopi.
Yep.
Are they from out of space? No, they're not. They're a cephalopod that has evolved in the ocean. I know that some journal of something says that they are. But did you actually read the article? Does it actually state that unequivocally that the scientists publishing this believe that octopus came from outer space?
It's theorizing. It doesn't. I mean, it's using this theory to, but it does unequivocally state that this theory indicates that these things fell from the skies in a state of stasis, my friend. Cephalopods, all cephalopods.
Let's believe it. I like it. Let's believe it.
Let's go with
Let's not question it.
I think we've got like 40 years left each on the planet. Sounds like Peter's planning a few less than that.
You don't have 40, mate.
Yeah.
You're not living to 130.
Hopefully, at some point, a little spaceship comes down, opens the door, a bunch of octopus come out. Then we'll know. I'd like that to happen in our lifetime.
I'd be thrilled. Could you imagine if like octopus overlords sort of showed up and they were like, oh, these are the minions. We left them here a couple 100,000 years ago, and they just spoke in perfect, eloquent sentences, and they just look like really large, giant Pacific octopus. And they're like, yeah, this is us.
I mean, most of the UAPs that we've filmed, that the Navy's filmed, at some point they do dip into the ocean. Maybe they're going down to set some more octopus down there, collect some. Who knows?
Yeah,
I'm also quite certain. I'm quite certain that the aliens in The Simpsons are octopus that are up in the ship. You know how they'll go to the aliens?
The green guys with the little bell jar helmets. Yeah.
And also, aliens definitely, octopus alien listen to this podcast, so we're safe. They're going to take us up and bring us into their culture if they do come down.
You're just so hoping for an anal probe. So there is one other news story that I liked, and this is probably gonna upset some people because I think it's hilarious. So 100 macaques were inbound for some scientific lab in Pennsylvania, and I get this text from Sir Jesse Calazzi, who is our editor. Patrick knows him. He's a hilarious dude, and he sends me a text that says it's coming, and sure enough, this truck of monkeys that was inbound for the lab crashes, gets into an accident, and 4 of them have escaped in Pennsylvania. And there are 4 macaques running around Pennsylvania since the escape. Pennsylvania now has a monkey problem. That's the news.
Well, so what's going to happen here? Are these things going to procreate?
That's wonderful.
I know. That's what I said. I think it's hilarious.
What's wrong with this? I mean, the fact that the monkeys got loose, the fact they were being... all right, but Forrest, is there a chance that these things become invasive?
I mean, no, and they're going to die, let's be honest, because the Pennsylvania winter is not a climate that any Southeast Asian macaques can survive in. I actually think, I need to check, I think they had 2 of them caught, and they had 2 more of them that they were basically knew exactly where they were. Some lady had an encounter with one and has to be treated with rabies. Like, it's all going to come to a very boring climactic end. But the idea of lab monkeys escaping in Pennsylvania and slowly taking over Planet of the Apes style is one that I want to really put forward. I hope that people can get on board with this. If you live in Pennsylvania, go out, find the monkeys, give them a sweater and a spear. Just see what happens. Don't question it. Just hand them a sweater and a spear.
I'll tell you what's a little weird, though. You know where the monkeys were headed?
I thought it was to some kind of lab, but I don't know.
Yeah, CDC lab. They're doing weird stuff. They gotta be doing something weird. What do you need 100 monkeys?
COVID shit.
What do you need 100 monkeys from Mauritius for? What are you doing? You testing on them? What are you testing?
That's a good question. They're Mauritian monkeys. Yeah, they're definitely not surviving a Pennsylvania winter.
No.
Yuck. I don't like the fact that we use lab monkeys, so fuck everybody.
No. Lab animals, what a morbid topic that is. Like,
it's terrible.
And on the flip side, it's like, what's the alternative, right? Because, like, you have to have something to test these on. Like, you shouldn't be doing it on people.
It's a
you
tough
also
topic.
Shouldn't be doing it on animals, but what's the alternative?
I know, it's a tough topic. It's created tons of advancement and saved millions of human lives. I get, but still, I don't like it. It makes me feel shitty inside. It makes me sad.
Well, let's brighten it up with something we all do like.
Yes.
Because I think it's time, Peter. I think it's time.
Do you know what time it is?
Yes.
it was.
Ooh, I like the double fist punch. It's a callback
you.
to the Patreon podcast where we talked about the nut punching monkey.
The nut punch, exactly. Yep, exactly.
All right, I got a good one here.
What do you got? What do you got?
We're doing
pen and paper.
We're doing an alphabet battle royale. We are not.
Always a treat.
We are not building creatures to fight till death, as Peter pulls up a list of
what?
animals that start with the letter.
Yeah.
This is, we are battling with the head, body, and legs to make the absolute number one. It is going to be the hottest selling item, Christmas of 2022, the cutest little pet. But all of the animals you pick, head, body, legs, have to begin with the letter P.
Very good. Very good.
Okay, I'm going to go last because
okay.
I didn't listen, so I'll need to hear what you guys say.
Okay.
good.
I'll
I
go
was
first.
texting both of you.
Because
Go
I have
first.
I have
you
one
suck.
cute
Okay.
thing that if I don't get it, I'll never do the podcast again.
You're so going to take mine, and I'm going to be so upset, but please go ahead.
All right. So to build this adorably cute pet, I mean, geez, the head and body are going to just be so goddamn cute. But I'm going to get these legs so that they're off the table. I am taking the appendages of an adorable platypus.
Ah, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, how cute?
Very good.
How cute are platypus's little flipper feet?
Adorable. Absolutely.
What does this have to do with
Venomous,
the
but
alphabet
adorable.
again? What do we have to go with P or something?
Yeah, everything has. All the animals have to start with a P, mate.
Okay, all right.
We've done these
Okay,
before.
I'll go next. I'll go next because Peter is still Googling animals that begin with the letter P.
I sure am.
I am going to, of course you are. I am going to, you know what's kind of funny? Sidebar, I can cheat on this every single time because my office is just walls of animal art. So I literally like look around the office and I'm like, oh, there we go, there's something. And anyway, I am going to take the head of a patty melon. Adorable,
Ooh,
super cute,
good one.
little marsupial. It's going to win in all the looking contests. Patty melon heads.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm
a
up
cute
for
face.
I'm up for 2. All right. So we need limbs, body, and head, right?
Correct.
Correct.
I'm
That's
going-
how it's been played for
89 weeks.
I am gonna go.
Yep.
I am going to pick the body of. Oh, they're so fucking adorable, penguins, mate. The body of a
that's cute.
penguin.
That's cute.
Oh my
Good pick.
god!
Good
we posted
pick.
a fucking penguin, where I overdubbed what he was saying on the TikTok. People love it. It's hilarious. We have a TikTok, by the way, at Wild
I was going
Times
to say,
Pod.
we have a TikTok? I didn't know that.
We do. Kyle's been posting shorts to it. So it's all right.
Okay.
So we got the penguin body, just a little adorable meat sack, kind of, fluffy, soft.
Yep.
And we have the feet of a painted turtle. That's right, a painted turtle. Just tiny little reptile feet.
I have several painted turtles, and feet are not the one that you should have picked from them.
Hey, don't bash my painted turtle feet on my
right,
penguin
Really
body.
look forward. I'm blanking on the Brosner's name that does the really realistic renditions of these, but I sure hope he does a couple. Sorry, Patrick, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
he's got a penguin body and turtle feet. That sounds really cute.
Dude, are you
I
kidding me?
have the head of a pademelon, adorable marsupial creature, which I am going to put on the winning creature, the animal, the body that is going to stand out because it's cute, it's fuzzy, it's armored, it's weird. Japanese girls are going to go nuts for it. Put it on the body of a pink fairy armadillo.
I thought you
Okay.
might. I thought you might do that.
I chose pink. I had to go color. I couldn't think of another bee animal.
No, that is legit. That's the name of the animal. All right, so I've got these cute little platypus feet. I'm going to put them on just the cutest, fluffiest little body that I can think of, and that is a Pomeranian puppy. A
Nice.
Pomeranian
Double P.
fuzzy little,
Double P.
double P
Yep.
Pomeranian
Sorry.
puppy. And then I need a really
that's the
cute
body,
head.
correct?
That's the body.
Yep.
I'm going for an adorable little head that you just love to pet. The head of a pine marten. You seen these things?
What's a pine marten?
Very-
No.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
they're
it's-
adorable. You should pull up a picture, actually, Peter. They're really, really cute.
I'm trying to play a game here, but I'll look up a pine marten to advance my competitor's fucking.
Case.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this is good. This is good. Okay, I got to think now. Oh,
Look
I'm
at
up
how
for
cute
the head.
that pine. Oh my God! Look at that pine marten. Adorable
Pretty
face.
ugly. Pretty ugly.
Stop it.
All right, so I have the head of a pademelon on the body of a pink fairy armadillo. Very interesting looking animal. You know what? I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to scale. I'm going to keep in mind the scale's down to the body, right? That's how we always play it.
Yep. Yeah, it's the size
I'm
of the
going to
body.
put it. Yep. I'm going to put the legs of a polar bear on it. Big, fluffy white legs. It's now standing up a little bit high. It can stand up
What?
on its
You
hind
lost.
legs. Yes. No, I didn't. It has claws. It can scratch you, but keep in mind it
Scratch?
still has the head of
You
a
mean maul?
pademelon. But it's this big. It's this big, so it's not going to do much. I mean,
Okay,
it's not
all
that
right,
big.
all right.
So the legs of a polar bear,
Okay.
and that's
All right.
very cute.
It's not, but
let me recap as I finish writing down my nonsense. Roasters, weigh in.
Mine still needs a head, mate. Have you played
I'm
this
so
game
sorry.
bit
I'm sorry. No,
Hey,
it's my first
do
time.
you
My
want-
name's
are you
Peter.
okay.
Please go ahead.
Christ, 90? 90? How many have we done? 150 of these, and you guys are
Yeah,
fucking this up still?
I'm not
Okay.
winning. I'm not winning.
Dude, this is the big reveal. Penguin body, painted turtle feet. This thing's already the best pet in the fucking known universe. Give it the head, a face, just like this. A pig, a baby pig, a pig face and head to match the size of the penguin body. It will be the cutest, most beautiful,
Pretty
cutest, most cuddly animal in the history of the world.
And you can feed it anything. You can just,
That's
it's
right.
like a walking dumpster, which is quite nice.
Just like me.
All right, very good. I love it, Peter, that, and I'm not saying this facetiously like I do 99.9% of the time. I think you did a good job.
Thank you.
Brosters, weigh in. Let us know who won the Alphabet Battle Royale for the cutest pet. Is it Patrick's Pomeranian body with the feet of a platypus and the head of a pine marten? Is
Yes.
it Peter's body of a penguin with the feet of a turtle and the adorable, cute face of a pig?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it my body of a pink fairy armadillo with the legs of a polar bear and the head of a pademelon? This is a pretty... I'm going to say this is a very close one. I really, really don't often think that. I think this one's close.
It's close.
Roasters,
Yeah,
weigh in.
let us know.
Weigh in the
Let
comments.
us know.
Let us know. I obviously won.
Check out the Patreon for additional stuff. Thanks Cam Monroe and Zach, who just have subscribed since we started doing this podcast. Where do they
saw
find that?
I got the pop-up notifications. Isn't that cool? Like literally
Yeah.
while we're potting on the
Potting.
YouTube, people are signing up for Patreon. I think that's very cool. Thank you.
Yes.
How do people
Oh,
find it
yes.
if they haven't gone over there yet, Peter?
Go to patreon.com/wildtimespodd. You can also go to thewildtimespodcast.com/info for all the links. Yeah, I mean, that's
New
it.
website coming soon. That's a thing.
New
We got a
website coming soon. Some people have been asking about our release cadence. It's been about once every other week. Come in because we are doing some things in the background. People's schedules. Forrest is traveling. Pat's traveling. We are doing bi-weekly podcasts, but there's still 4 on the Patreon every month. New podcasts. So that's what it is right now. Go check those out on patreon.com/wildtimespod. At Wild Times Pod on all the socials to get your fill of the Wild Times idiots. That's us. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. See, I wasn't in a bad mood. I was in a great
No,
mood.
you weren't. And it didn't help because Peter kept saying you were in a bad mood, which definitely
Shut
didn't
up,
help.
everybody. I won Battle Royale. Good night.